Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes Hong Kong's last opposition parties speak out on planned security law. Premier League revolution in Hong Kong? Clubs want to take control from city's FA. Two sessions delegates push to keep Hong Kong unique, help mainland firms. Vietnam property tycoon heads to trial in $40 billion graft case. Apple dealers slash iPhone prices in China, as Huawei lures away buyers. Hong Kong's last opposition parties speak out on planned security law. Nikkei Asia. Hong Kong's remaining pro-democratic parties have voiced concerns regarding the implementation of additional national security legislation. The parties have questioned the vague wording of the new legislation, which would cover a range of offenses including treason and external interference in domestic affairs. Lo Kin-hei, chairman of the Democratic Party, acknowledged that he is unsure whether voicing opposing views would make any difference, but stated that speaking out is one of the few remaining ways the party can push for restoring an open society. Premier League revolution in Hong Kong? Clubs want to take control from city's FA. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's leading football clubs are looking to take control of the local Premier League from the city's Football Association. The clubs are planning to establish an independent company to oversee the division, and would like to follow the model adopted by the Premier League in England. The clubs have been in discussions with the FA for over a year, but have faced obstacles. Hong Kong's Premier League has struggled to attract crowds, and the clubs feel the FA has been unable to promote the domestic competition effectively. Two sessions delegates push to keep Hong Kong unique, help mainland firms. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong politicians and tycoons are heading to Beijing for China's most important annual political gatherings. The meetings of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, and National People's Congress, NPC, will be the first face-to-face meetings in 4 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hong Kong's delegates have prepared hundreds of proposals to raise at the meetings, including ideas to attract more mainland tourists and help mainland companies go global. They will also propose raising the duty-free shopping limit for mainlanders from 5,000 Chinese yuan to 30,000 Chinese yuan. The CPPCC Standing Committee member Henry Tang Ing-yen will propose 7 ideas to boost Hong Kong's competitiveness, including promoting Hong Kong's professional services. The meetings will provide clues to Beijing's strategies and priorities for Hong Kong in the coming year, including the focus on national security and the city's role in attracting foreign direct investment. Maintaining Hong Kong's position as an international financial center is becoming more important than ever in the face of ongoing geopolitical challenges. Vietnam property tycoon heads to trial in $40 billion graft case. Nikkei Asia. Vietnamese real estate tycoon Truong My Lan is set to go on trial over allegations that she and others fraudulently took out $40 billion in loans from Saigon Commercial Joint Stock Bank over the course of a decade. The case is high profile as Vietnam tries to tackle corruption in the country's business sector. Lan and 85 accomplices, including 5 still at large, will be tried at a Ho Chi Minh City People's Court. Proceedings are expected to last until April 29. The defendants face charges including bribery and embezzlement. Apple dealers slash iPhone prices in China, as Huawei lures away buyers. South China Morning Post. Apple authorized retailers in China are selling the latest iPhone series at steep discounts on Alibaba Group Holdings Tmall and rival JD.com's platforms, in a bid to boost sales amid stiff competition from domestic brands. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is being sold for 8,849 Chinese yuan, $1,230, roughly 1,150 Chinese yuan cheaper than the original price. The price cuts by authorized dealers are more than double the maximum 500 Chinese yuan discount that Apple offered in mid-January on its official online store. Apple has been feeling the pressure from local vendors as Huawei moves towards the premium category, according to analysts. Money, power and the peril of courting Chinese nationalism. Al Jazeera. A Chinese nationalist vlogger recently caused controversy by claiming that red circular stickers in a shopping mall resembled the rising sun on Japan's national flag. The vlogger's video went viral, leading to local police ordering the stickers to be removed and the mall receiving an official warning. Chinese social media users quickly pointed out the absurdity of banning red circular objects, including the logo of Huawei and even traffic lights. The incident highlights the delicate balancing act that the Chinese government must play in promoting nationalism while avoiding extremism and maintaining control over the narrative. Hong Kong puts shipping industry on greener course. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong is aiming to become a leader in greening the shipping industry by setting up a regional green fuel bunkering center. The initiative will provide infrastructure and financial incentives to vessel owners and the industry to encourage them to be more environmentally friendly. Hong Kong plans to subsidize shipowners who retrofit their vessels to be more energy efficient and use greener fuels such as methanol. The city also aims to be a bunkering center for methanol, which can reduce emissions of carbon dioxide by 7% and cut sulfur and nitrogen oxide emissions even further. Clarity still required after consultation on Hong Kong's Article 23 concludes. SCMP opinion. The consultation on proposed new national security laws for Hong Kong has generated over 13,000 submissions, with the majority expressing positive views about the laws. While there is general agreement that the legislation is necessary, concerns have been raised about the clarity of certain legal definitions and the potential impact on freedoms protected by the Basic Law. Suggestions for improvements include the need for greater clarity in the bill to ensure that people are not inadvertently caught by the law or refrain from legitimate activities out of fear of accidentally breaching it. There is also a call for a public interest defense for state secrets offenses. The government should listen to these suggestions and make adjustments to strike the right balance between protecting national security and safeguarding the city's rights. Tuvalu's new premier will maintain ties with Taiwan, revisit Australia's security pact. Diplomat. The new Prime Minister of Tuvalu, Feleti Teo, has affirmed that his government will maintain diplomatic ties with Taiwan, ruling out a shift to Beijing. Teo stated that the ties between Tuvalu and Taiwan are based on democratic principles and that Taiwan has been loyal to Tuvalu. The issue of whether Tuvalu should switch its diplomatic allegiance from Taiwan to China was a campaign issue during the recent general elections in Tuvalu. The new administration has decided to maintain the ties with Taiwan. Sweden joining NATO bolsters Northern Europe's defense, XPM says. Nikkei Asia. Former Swedish Prime Minister Carl Bildt has said that Sweden's successful bid to join NATO will increase cooperation between the EU and the military alliance. Speaking during a trip to Tokyo, Bildt stated that there is a lot of determination to do whatever we can in order to support Ukraine. He also commented on Sweden's ability to help deter Russia, stating that we are going to deal with a militarily significantly weaker Russia for quite some time to come. Bildt also discussed the challenges that would come if Donald Trump were to win a second presidential term in the U.S., stating that the biggest danger is to the Americans themselves, that they will have a presidency concentrated on domestic revenge. Aaron Zygmunt's Emigre oratorio, about Jews who fled Nazi Germany for Shanghai, has U.S. premiere. Associated Press. Aaron Zygmunt has composed a 90-minute, two-act oratorio entitled Emigre that portrays Jews who had to flee Nazi Germany for Shanghai. The New York Philharmonic gave the oratorio its U.S. premiere on Thursday night. The oratorio is fictional but based on the true story of between 20,000 and 30,000 Jews who reached the Shanghai International Settlement. Additional performances are planned for Beijing in October, Berlin in November, Hong Kong in April 2025 and London in June 2025. Boeing fined $51 million for violating Arms Export Control Act. CNN. Boeing has agreed to pay a $51 million fine for violating export controls on military technology. The aerospace giant will pay the fine after it was found that employees in China had downloaded sensitive data relating to defense aircraft and missiles on numerous occasions between 2013 and 2017. In addition to this, Boeing disclosed that there were 80 further unauthorized downloads of defense data and information by employees and contractors in 18 other countries. The U.S. State Department found Boeing guilty of 199 violations of the Arms Export Control Act. Oil trader Gunvor to plead guilty in U.S. case tied to Ecuadorian bribes. Bloomberg. Oil trader Gunvor will pay over $660 million to settle charges that it paid bribes to Ecuadorian government officials for contracts. The penalty includes a $374.5 million fine and a forfeiture of $287.1 million. Gunvor admitted to paying the bribes between 2011 and 2020. The plea agreement is not final until it is accepted by a U.S. district judge. Gunvor is the latest company to admit to paying bribes as part of an investigation into corruption in Ecuador's oil sector. The Justice Department is currently conducting numerous investigations into major oil traders over illicit payments to government officials. The Australian banks of sovereign citizens, and the havoc they wreak. The Sydney Morning Herald. CreditNet Bank International, an Australian bank with no office, has been at the centre of numerous controversies in Australian corporate history. Founder Robert Gray, who has been banned by Australia's banking regulator from claiming that CreditNet Bank International and his other group, Commercial Development Bank, are banks, has long insisted that the businesses operate legally. The group claims a sovereign pure trust operates under common law principles and is backed by gold. CreditNet Bank International has been linked to failed attempts by former winemaker Andrew Garrett to take over BHP, Qantas, Suncorp and Foster's. It has also been associated with a $25 billion attempted fraud against the Pacific country of Palau. The Australian Prudential Regulatory Authority has been sending warning letters to the group and Gray since 2004, but it took until 2023 to launch court action. Anthony Kim has Rusty welcome back to golf after 12 years away. He trails Rahm by 14. Associated Press. Anthony Kim, who last played a competitive round of golf in 2012, started the LIV Golf Jeddah tournament with a 6-over-par 76, 14 shots adrift of the lead shared by Jon Rahm and Adrian Meronk. Kim has moved to the Saudi Arabian-funded league as a wild card for the rest of the season, and is looking to gain individual points over the next few events in order to qualify as a permanent player for LIV Golf in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 dimensions. Today, we have a diverse range of news from around the world, covering topics such as politics, sports, technology, and culture. So, let's dive right in. In Hong Kong, the last remaining pro-democratic parties have expressed concerns about the implementation of additional national security legislation. They question the vague wording of the new laws, which cover offenses such as treason and external interference in domestic affairs. It's a challenging time for those who want to restore an open society, but they continue to speak out in the hope of making a difference. On the sports front, Hong Kong's leading football clubs are looking to take control of the local Premier League from the Football Association. They want to follow the successful model adopted by the Premier League in England. The clubs feel that the association has not effectively promoted the domestic competition, and they hope to turn things around. Moving on to politics, Hong Kong politicians and tycoons are heading to Beijing for China's annual political gatherings. They have prepared proposals to raise at the meetings, including ideas to attract more mainland tourists and help mainland companies go global. These meetings will provide clues to Beijing's strategies and priorities for Hong Kong in the coming year, so it's an important time for the city. In Vietnam, a high-profile trial is set to begin for a real estate tycoon accused of fraudulently taking out $40 billion in loans. This case highlights the government's efforts to tackle corruption in the country's business sector. It will be interesting to see how the trial unfolds and what impact it will have on the business landscape in Vietnam. Shifting our focus to technology, Apple-authorized retailers in China are slashing iPhone prices to compete with domestic brands. Huawei, in particular, has been successful in luring away buyers with its premium offerings. It seems like Apple is feeling the pressure and is making efforts to boost sales in China. Now, let's talk about an incident that highlights the delicate balancing act the Chinese government faces in promoting nationalism. A Chinese vlogger caused controversy by claiming that red circular stickers in a shopping mall resembled the rising sun on Japan's national flag. The incident led to the stickers being removed and the mall receiving an official warning. Chinese social media users quickly pointed out the absurdity of banning red circular objects, including the logo of Huawei and even traffic lights. It's a reminder that promoting nationalism requires careful navigation to avoid extremism. In environmental news, Hong Kong is striving to become a leader in greening the shipping industry. They plan to set up a regional green fuel bunkering center and provide incentives for vessel owners to be more environmentally friendly. This is an important step towards reducing emissions and protecting the environment. The consultation on proposed new national security laws in Hong Kong has generated over 13,000 submissions, with the majority expressing positive views. While there is agreement on the necessity of the legislation, concerns have been raised about the clarity of certain legal definitions and the potential impact on freedoms protected by the Basic Law. It's important for the government to listen to these suggestions and strike the right balance between national security and safeguarding rights. In international relations, the new Prime Minister of Tuvalu has affirmed that the country will maintain diplomatic ties with Taiwan. This decision is based on democratic principles and loyalty to Tuvalu. It's a clear statement in the midst of ongoing debates about diplomatic allegiances in the region. Former Swedish Prime Minister Carl Bildt has commented on Sweden's successful bid to join NATO. He believes that this move will increase cooperation between the EU and the military alliance. He also discussed the challenges of dealing with a militarily weaker Russia and the potential consequences of a second term for Donald Trump in the US. It's an interesting perspective on the evolving dynamics in Northern Europe. In the world of arts and culture, composer Aaron Zigman has premiered his oratorio Emigre, which portrays the story of Jews who fled Nazi Germany for Shanghai. This powerful piece is based on true events and shines a light on a lesser-known aspect of history. It's great to see art being used to tell important stories. In the business world, Boeing has been fined $51 million for violating export controls on military technology. The aerospace giant was found to have downloaded sensitive data related to defense aircraft and missiles in China. This serves as a reminder of the importance of adhering to regulations and protecting sensitive information. Oil trader Gunvor has agreed to pay over $660 million to settle charges that it paid bribes to Ecuadorian government officials. This is part of a wider investigation into corruption in Ecuador's oil sector. The case highlights the ongoing efforts to tackle corruption and promote transparency in the business world. Finally, in Australia, a controversial bank has been causing havoc in the corporate world. CreditNet Bank International, which claims to operate under common law principles and is backed by gold, has been linked to failed takeover attempts and an attempted fraud. The authorities have been warning against the group for years, but it has taken until now for court action to be taken. Well, that's all the news for today from the 6 Dimensions. I hope you've enjoyed this whirlwind tour of the world. Now, it's time for you, my amazing audience, to join the discussion. What are your thoughts on these news stories? Do you have any questions? Let's hear your ideas. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Six, and I look forward to our next adventure together. Stay curious, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.